Dear viewers, our topic today is ideology and hegemony. In Marxist terms, ideology is that which makes us experience life in a certain way and makes us believe that our way of seeing things is natural. In this way, ideology distorts reality in one way or another and falsely presents as natural and harmonious what is artificial and contradictory. Our trust in ideology leads us to a state of false consciousness or self-deception. How is ideology able to hide authentic reality from us? This issue is addressed by the French Marxist philosopher Louis Althusser. Althusser is of the view that ideology represents imaginary relationship of individuals to their condition of existence. It implies that ideology distorts our view of our true condition of existence. Althusser further explains how ideology works. He says that ideology works through ideological state apparatuses, which are subject to the ruling ideology. These state apparatuses include organized religion, the law, the political system, the educational system, etc. Therefore, ideology has a material existence, in that it is embodied in all sorts of material practices. These material practices are linked with all the aspects of our existence. It means that practically everything we do and everything we engage in is pervaded by ideology. Althusser puts it this way: ideas have disappeared. Their existence is inscribed in the actions of practices governed by an ideological apparatus. It therefore appears that the subject acts insofar as he is acted by the ideological apparatus prescribing material practices, which exist in the material actions of a subject. Althusser suggests that we wrongly believe that we are acting out of free will. We are in reality acted by the system. In order to understand the enormous influence of ideology, we may examine Lacan's theory of identity formation. Lacan proposes a tripartite structure of identity formation, which is relational, not fixed. According to Lacan, the outside world acts as a mirror and reflects our image, just as a mirror reflects our image. Some distortion takes place in our image when it is reflected by the outside world. That distortion leads to misrecognition on our part. It implies that we cannot recognize our true identity and mistake our reflection for ourselves. At this point, our identity is incomplete and incoherent. Therefore, we experience a yearning for completion. Then we pass into the realm of language. Here we are constructed in language. Language, like culture, has a repressive character. Both language and culture shape our unconscious. Our unconscious serves as a storehouse. It contains everything that is suppressed by ideology. For example, our feelings pertaining to social inequality, lack of opportunity, or lack of freedom, etc., are repressed and consigned to the unconscious. Ideology gives us the illusion that we are free. It makes us whole. In Lacanian terms, ideology is the other or the social order whose misrecognition of us becomes incorporated in our identity. This misrecognition generates misrepresentation and renders us unable to make a true assessment about ourselves. In this way, this misrepresentation becomes a cornerstone of our identity. This is Lacan's theory of identity formation. We now relate Lacan's theory of identity formation to Althusser's theory of ideology. Another term which is related to ideology is interpellation. Interpellation is the act of internalizing the values propounded by a culture or an ideology. In other words, interpellation means internalization of a certain discourse. Ideology interpellates us or addresses us as concrete subjects. It interpellates us in different social roles or subject positions. The way ideology addresses us creates that subject position or social role for us. Ideology convinces us that we are the concrete subjects we want to be. It implies that under the influence of ideology, we see ourselves as natural, as belonging to the natural, harmonious order of things. Now we shall discuss Gramsci's concept of hegemony. Whereas Althusser's view of ideology has a deterministic character, Gramsci's concept of ideology is flexible. It is far less inescapable than Althusser's ideology. According to Gramsci, it is the power of ideology which leads us to the spontaneous consent given by the great masses of the population, to the general direction imposed on the social life by dominant fundamental group. This consent is historically caused by the prestige which the dominant group enjoys because of its position and function in the world of production, as opposed to Althusser's inelastic concept of ideology. Gramsci's concept of ideology allows us to resist the domination of a set of ruling beliefs and values. Gramsci uses the term hegemony to describe this concept of domination. Gramsci's hegemony works through consent rather than coercion. As mentioned earlier, it is far less inescapable than Althusser's ideology, and it establishes and maintains itself through civil society and employs cultural means and institutions. Under hegemonic conditions, the majority of people internalize what the rulers want them to believe. They genuinely think that they are voicing their own opinion. Gramsci's hegemony is not airtight and waterproof. We can catch on it and resist its working through counter-hegemonic actions if we cannot escape its all-pervasive influence. In this connection, Raymond Williams says, hegemony is not singular, its own internal structures are highly complex, they can be continually challenged and in certain respects modified. To conclude, it can be said that ideology implies a set of ideas and beliefs that are dominant in society and are used to justify the power and privilege of the ruling class. When we compare Althusser's concept of ideology with Gramsci's concept of hegemony, we come to know that hegemony is a far more flexible term and it leaves a lot of room for human initiative. Thank you very much.